Good morning. BJ Stevens here with Goosebump Moments. Today is part 2 in my series of Mastering the Art of Communication. The previous series talked about the verbal communication, the oral communication. Today we're going to speak about the non-verbal side of effective communication. It's just as equally important that you understand all the aspects that go into communication. We communicate every day, every single day. Our manner to our child, to our spouse, to our coworkers, to the people at the grocery store, at the gas station, we're always communicating. And a lot of people will read unspoken assumptions into your facial expression, your body language, the smirks on your face, the eyes. That's all part of nonverbal communication. Now, this whole series is designed for everyone, not just the business professional, but for the regular person as well. It's not just what you say that has an effect upon people, but it's a lot of times what you don't say that speaks volumes. So you need to be in a constant state of awareness, pardon me, about what you're intending to imply for other people, how you are relating to them. People are always paying attention. Don't ever think that they're not. First, one of the aspects of nonverbal communication is your hands. Now, if you are a person that's standing up doing a presentation in front of one or more people, your hands become a tool. Your hands can point the way, it can exaggerate, it can bring people in, it can push people away, and sometimes, well, not sometimes, most of the time, we let our hands do most of the talking, and that's not always a good thing, because when those speakers use a lot of hand gestures, they're taking away from the content. You want people to pay attention to your words and to your facial expression and your body language. You do not want people paying attention to all the over-exaggerated hand gestures. One of the ways you can train yourself not to use hand gestures as much is to record yourself. Then stand back and watch what you do and how you do it. Critique yourself. Don't be overly critical, because hand gestures do play an important role in communication. Now, I want you to think about something as well. For those who are deaf and dumb and rely upon sign language, that's how they communicate. And if you've ever been around anybody who signs a lot, you will know that when they emotionally feel agitation or excitement or something's going on that they're just enthused about, you see that they're always doing this. They're exaggerating with their hand gestures. There is a right time, there is a right place, there's a right form, there's a right format for hand gestures. So pay attention to what it is that you're doing. One of the other elements of nonverbal communication is your eyes. People read a lot into what your eyes say. It can encourage, it can excite, it can distract, it can be focused and lasered, it can be humorous. When you film yourself, pay attention to what it is, your eyebrows. Pay attention to how squinty you get or how wide-eyed you get. Pay attention. People will notice. And that can become a tool into relaying an emotion, relaying something good or something bad. So make sure that when you critique yourself, you're paying attention to what your eyes are saying. When you speak to somebody, it's one of the things that a lot of us are not very comfortable at. But when you speak to somebody, you need to look them in the eye. You don't wander. I tend to do that. I tend to look off, but I come right back. It's when you focus on the eyes, you draw them in. You're showing your sincerity. You're showing that you have some truthfulness about you. You're showing that you're interested in what it is that they have to say when they respond back. Too many people these days are looking down or looking away or get distracted. Pay attention to that person that you're communicating with, because once that eye connection is severed, then the speaker will tend to think you are not interested. So please make sure that you are looking everybody in the eye. Your arms. Now, some people don't even realize how distracting and the wrong message that your arms can play. Have you ever spoken to somebody and they took this stand? What does that say? Have you ever talked to somebody when their hands are put on their side, on their hips? Have you ever spoken to somebody when they do this? Have you ever spoken to somebody that does this? Or have you ever seen other speakers do the same thing as well? Arm gestures and placement can speak volumes just as much as facial expressions and body language. One of the other things that arms do, I'm looking down at my notes, so forgive me. One of the other things that arm gestures tend to do, for an example, when you do this, that's kind of a message that says, don't get any closer. There is a psychological space that we allow around us that we perceive as an invasion of comfort. So when somebody looks like this or somebody says this, be careful. Be aware of what it is that those arms are saying to you. It speaks volumes, and a lot of people aren't aware of how to read those gestures. Make yourself better informed about that. It will just make you a better communicator, and it will make what you're trying to say or the points that you're trying to get across more effective. Now, one of the biggest things that you can do when trying to effectively communicate is your stance. Now, I'm going to use a lot of professional speakers for an example here. Stance can be converted into style. When you are speaking in a very informal group, maybe at a family function or maybe at a church group, and you're comfortable with all the people around you, watch how you stand. Do you lean up against a counter or lean up against a wall? When you're sitting, do you lean in on your legs with an elbow on the leg? Do you do this? I do. It shows a connection. It shows that you're interested in those groups of people. Now, when we talk about professional speakers, I'm going to use 3 examples. Les Brown, very well known, highly thought of motivational, inspirational educator, teacher, speaker, commands the stage. He'll go from stage left to stage right. He'll focus in the center. Then he'll come back and he'll start moving. He looks at people in the audience. He looks at people in the eye. He's constantly walking the stage. John Maxwell, on the other hand, prefers to sit during a lot of his presentations. I personally happen to like that style. That's more me. He and I do that because it gives a more intimate setting. It gives off the presentation like you want to relate on a one-to-one level. You're not hypey, you're not exaggerated. You are truly trying to find an eye contact that's one-to-one. It just lends an air of comfort and friendship. It also lends to an air of informative and casuality. I happen to like that style. Now, other speakers like Brian Tracy, he does move around on the stage some. Brian's really big, especially in his videos, on his hand gestures. It takes them all of these aspects, all of these elements, to be able to read someone who is trying to communicate to you, or how you are trying to communicate to them. So I'm asking you that you stand back, record yourself, and pay attention to what it is you're doing. Pay attention to your hand gestures, your arm placements, your facial expressions, your body language, your tone, your pitch, your volume. They all play an important part in effective communication with other people. It's critical. It's crucial. And as I said in yesterday's video, because today is so crazy in a sense that we're all trying to get our opinions voiced. We're trying to bring our voice out and be heard. But because we're using the wrong words, we're using the wrong methods, we're not thinking before we speak, we're not assuming that other people have opinions. All we're consumed about nowadays is for people to see us, that our opinion is the only one that matters. That's the impression that a lot of people are giving these days. That may not be their intent, but that's how they're coming off. So in order to be a better communicator with your coworkers, with your teammates, with your spouse, your children, your community, your neighbors, your other family members, with everybody you come in contact with, learn how to become a better communicator. Now, if you would like to learn some more about these tips, if you would like to become a better communicator, I teach a class on this, and I would love for you to reach out and get a hold of me. You can find me at Goosebump Moments on Facebook, or you can send an email to me at goosebumpmoments@gmail.com, or you can respond to this video down below and say, more info, please. We're here to make you better. I'm here to help you improve on your daily life, your professional life, and your personal life. That's what I do, and that's what I've done for 40 years. So this is BJ Stevens with Goosebump Moments saying so long until the next time. Thank you.